Welcome everyone to the Athena Digital Leaders How to Supercharge Your Tech Career webinar. My name is Norma Shane and I'm the project manager of this initiative. Before we jump into it, I wanted to provide you with a rundown for the flow of today's webinar. We will start with an overview of the Athena Digital Leaders program. From there, we will hear from our guest speaker, Lisa Shields, who will be discussing her journey in tech. After that, we'll hear from each of our academic partners. So we have Northeastern University, Vancouver, SFU, and UBC Sauder about the courses that they have in collaboration with our program. Lastly, we will finish off with any questions that you from the audience may have. So to go into Athena Digital Leaders, we're going to go backward a little bit to give you a little bit more context behind it. So we started with Athena Pathways, which was created to bring more female diversity into the fields of artificial intelligence, data science, and machine learning within BC. This program is administered by the Artificial Intelligence Network of British Columbia and is also known as AI in BC. The program was launched in March of 2020 with a goal of enrolling another 500 women into these fields through scholarships, mentorships, and employment. We currently have helped over 430 BC women enter or advance in these fields. Moving into Athena Digital Leaders, we felt we had created a great community with Athena Pathways, and we wanted to expand on this. The newly launched Athena Digital Leaders program is expanded to include both BC women and new immigrants to BC, which can be either male or female, to continue to diversify the AI space. Our program has two streams for accepted applicants. The first is for mid-career managers who are looking to transition into AI. They can take one of our tuition covered courses at our academic partners, which they will speak to shortly. Once they have completed the course, they can approach employers stating that they come with a 43% wage subsidy for up to 18 weeks and a maximum of $17,000. The second stream is for those already trained in this space. We will provide them with the same wage subsidy previously mentioned. For the roles involving the wage subsidy, the applicant does need to be hired into a role that has a component of artificial intelligence, data science, or machine learning. If you have any questions about Athena Digital Leaders, feel free to ask me in the Q&A portion later on, or you can email me at info@athenapathways.org, and I'll place this email into the chat as well shortly. So now I would like to introduce you to Lisa Shields, who is the founder and CEO of FiSpan. She is an exceptional leader in the tech space who sold her prior company, Hyperwallet, to PayPal for $400 million. She continues to play an active role in our tech ecosystem, sitting on the board of a public company and mentoring startups. We are fortunate to have her perspective on the industry here today. I will now turn it over to Lisa to tell you about her journey into tech and how she has helped her company become the market leader in embedded banking.
Hi, Lisa. Okay, I'm having technology problems here with my mouse unconnecting, so I'm hoping people can hear me now.
Yep, we can hear you.
Somebody, okay, great, and I'm sharing my screen. If I go silent and my mouse goes away, it's because my Wi-Fi is all dying. So thank you very much for inviting me. I'm excited to be here and share my journey with you. So let me see, here we go. I started in STEM in university studying aeronautical engineering, specifically fluid dynamics. And this was way back in 1981, when engineering at the time in my university was 20% women. I was so nerdy and I loved it so much that I assumed everybody else would also love it. And it was only a matter of time, maybe 3 to 5 years, before STEM would be 50-50 men and women. So to be honest, I never did the woman thing throughout my career. I didn't want to be a hyphenated anything, woman engineer or woman entrepreneur. And now, I realize that this was an error. And so I'm trying to, step in and lean into some of these events like this, because the truth is, in 40 years, we still haven't moved the needle for women in technology, and in some ways have actually regressed. But when I started my career, really there was two things I wanted from it. One was to travel and see the world, and two was to work on cool technology. And luckily, a rigorous engineering program opens up both of these doors. So my first job right out of university happened to take me to Australia. And there I worked as a very junior grunt engineer on the design of America's Cup racing yachts, which at the time were rich man's playthings and still to an extent are that today. But what's important about this step is that in 1988, it was the very early days of computational fluid dynamics, which became enabled by the evolution of this new technology called supercomputing. And it meant that designers who stuck to analytical models and the old way of doing things would ultimately be outraced by those who started to excel at being the best number crunchers and could run simulations. So even though I didn't have a computer science background, the need at the time was so great for these kind of skills that there really was ample opportunity for me to side skill and take night courses and become a proficient software engineer. But it was also 1988 still. And so compute time was really, really expensive. It was such that I would code all day and make models all day and then post my batch job to run from 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. on the single supercomputer that they had in Australia at the time in Melbourne. So what it meant was the cost of a bug and a crashed or unfinished job was really, really high. And I got pretty good and pretty proficient at writing clean code. And going back to the travel thing, an opportunity presented itself, and I also jumped at it to live and work for a number of years in the UK and Norway on something called aeronautical information systems, which were the state of the art at the time in information exchange and pilot briefing and ground controller applications. But the point of this story is that by 1995, there was this super cool new paradigm that had the potential to change the world, and I really wanted to work on it. It held this inexorable pull for me, and I would take any job that I could to be in the early days of putting the world on the internet. So after a career in aviation and 14 years out working and living around the world, I arrived back in Canada with no connections and no experience, and my bank wouldn't even give me a credit card. But I was willing to take a job anywhere I could that was on the internet. And so the job that I did take was a software programming job at a very, very early online business. And after 2 years there, I formed the view that online merchants were fundamentally underserved by a credit card. So notwithstanding the fact that I had zero domain knowledge, in other words, I knew nothing about banking, payments, or business, my co-founder and I thought we could become overnight millionaires by building a new online payment system. And the time, it was 1999 after all. And we'd only known markets that were going up and up. And so, we were going to be rich, and what could possibly go wrong? We thought that it would be a piece of cake to raise money. After all, it was 1999 and they were throwing money at stupid ideas. But this idea that we thought that we could raise money and build a business turned out to be a false assumption. We got declined. My co-founder happened to be another woman. The idea of Hyperwallet, my first business, wasn't mine, it was hers. I was the technical muscle to build it. She was going to be the CEO. But it was, very depressing. We got declined, mocked, or ignored at every investor pitch we tried. And eventually we gave up and bootstrapped. Also false. So raising money turned out to be a false assumption, but also false is what you see in this photo, which I took from a 2020 website, not 2000, but 2020, which was a website appealing to young women startup founders, offering them pitch advice. And let me tell you what's false about this. You will never be in a room pitching to a group of such diverse, attentive, and helpful people if they actually have money to give to you. The truth is that it was, funding was an old boys club back in the year 2000, and it's very much still the same today. So I'll spare you the gory details of my first company, and this says Hyperwallet circa 2000 to circa 2008. But suffice to say, we had a really horrible, awful time for about 8 years. We had a very, it boils down to three things. We had a very naive idea about what the market actually wanted. We had impeccably poor timing starting the business. We started right at the start of the dot-com crash. But what we did have was good technology, a great team, and fundamentally a refusal to die. So we grew slowly, but over time became profitable. And then, seemingly out of nowhere, the gig economy started to explode in 2014. And, suddenly Hyperwallet service, which up until this point, we were nothing burgers in Vancouver, this little company with sort of 25 or 30 people. But suddenly our technology and service became a hot commodity. So, my company got bought by PayPal and I got a nice big check. But after only a few months of being on gardening leave and retirement and being an advisor, I realized I really missed the feeling of being part of a team. And then so with a certain amount of introspection, I realized I was pretty unemployable. So, it kind of left one door open to me, which was, hey, is there an opportunity to do it again and do it differently and at least make different mistakes? So now it's 2016, and the company that I'm in now is called FiSpan. Started almost exactly 5 years ago now, on the premise that banking and payments need to be embedded in business software. And in fact, that open banking represents a really enormous opportunity rather than a threat for banks. So I saw, an opportunity in the market to position myself as a friend of banks this time versus competing against them, because I learned what that was like the last time. Anyway, at FiSpan now, we're 5 years into a journey, which typically in a startup is 10 or 15 years. And we've had quite a bit of success, quite a bit earlier in our journey this time. We'll see how this plays out. It's anybody's call, but so far I've just had a ton of fun watching what happens next. And, speaking of what happens next, the message here today is that AI and machine learning and data science are the new inexorable, potentially world-changing paradigms that really are just at their infancy. And you've probably heard this truism stated in the past, but soon every company is going to become a data company. I think 4 years ago, it was, the tagline was every company is going to become a software company, and now it's every company is going to become a data company. I think this one is true because even in FiSpan's case, we're very much like a software application company, but we're seeing an enormous opportunity to become a trusted exchanger of data. Personally, I believe that in the future, business models like today's, the Facebooks of the world, et cetera, that are predicated on acquiring and monetizing enormous amounts of side effect consumer and business data will become supplanted by business models more like our own. But regardless which way the privacy and monetization winds blow, the message is that we're all going to require new practitioners and new skills. From startups like FiSpan, established multinational companies, governments, and even the banks are all going to be looking for talents at all stages of careers to help build this future. So I put it to you, folks on this call that I hope can hear me because I haven't got any feedback yet. But I put it to you that, just like the 1988 me, with an engineering background but no software background, the opportunity today to folks at all stages of their careers to side skill and transition into a data intelligence or data processing role is really there for the taking if you're so inclined. So I'll wrap up here and say that I'm really thrilled to share my story with you and hope to learn more from the other sessions today. And what I really hope for is to meet some of you folks face-to-face at an event real soon now. So that's it from me.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Lisa. That was a really inspiring story, and I felt like it was full of hope for all of us here on the call today. If anyone has any questions for Lisa, you can place them in the chat at the Q&A portion at the end of this. So now we will get into the presentations from our academic partners who will be discussing the courses they have in collaboration with the Athena Digital Leaders Tuition Coverage Program. We will start with Bethany Edmonds, who is the Director of Computer Science at Northeastern University, Vancouver. She will be discussing their product design with machine learning course.
Hello, everyone. Let me share my screen with you. Nope. You good? I'm going to take that silence as a yes. Welcome, everyone. For those of you that don't know, Northeastern University is a 120-year-old university with 10 locations around the world, one of which being in Vancouver. So we had the lovely timing, like Lisa talked about, where we launched a campus in February 2020 here in Vancouver. So yay, timing. But we are a university that's here, and we're very happy to be partnered with AI in BC for several of our courses. The one we're going to talk about today is product design with machine learning. So our course, really the goal of this course is to take individuals that are in product design roles and management roles, and give them the ability to make more informed decisions about product development cycles and design choices and data collection processes with the mindset of machine learning. So what is machine learning and how do you put that into your process? So you'll see here some of the learning goals of the course are to understand machine learning concepts, to understand the development cycle for machine learning products, specifying problem and selecting appropriate data and methods to solve them using machine learning. And we have a level 3 badge that goes alongside with this course. The instructor for the course is Professor Bruce Maxwell. So he has a PhD in robotics from Carnegie Mellon and a master's in philosophy in computer speech and natural language processing. And he's an amazing instructor that's been around for longer than he'd like me to tell you. So the delivery of the course, it's 7 weeks, 2 hours a week in class. By in class, it's online, but it's going to be interactive presentations and individual and group activities for 2 hours a week, and then another 2 hours outside of class. And they'll be on Mondays in November and December. The awesome thing about this class is that you actually don't need computer science or an AI background to learn machine learning. You just need a bachelor's degree, 4 hours a week, and then it's great if you'd be a product manager or developer or marketing professional that wants to know what machine learning means in the product development process. So that's us and our course.
Perfect. Thank you, Bethany. Next up, we have Fred Popovich, who is the Scientific Director of the Big Data Initiative at SFU. He will be discussing Data Fellowships, Data and AI course.
Great. Well, thank you very much. And I'm now going to get hopefully my screen sharing working here for you. So there we go. And hopefully you can see the screen there in front of you. Take silence as meaning yes. So that's a good start.
We can see it. Thank you.
Great. Okay. Thank you very much. And just to give you some context in terms of this, so I'm the scientific director of the Big Data Hub at SFU, which is a core facility. And I'm also a professor in the School of Computing Science, where I've been there for longer than, to use some of Bethany's wording, actually there must be something about natural language processing professors being around for a long period of time in terms of that. So my background is in AI, and I'm really pleased to be involved with the core facility, which is basically, it's an organization, just like the library provides, research facilities for all of the community. We provide a range of collaboration, consulting, and hands-on training services for not only the internal university community, but for the community at large. And through that, we have a range of expertise in all. You see artificial intelligence being alphabetical is the first one in terms of our areas of expertise there in the Big Data Hub. And we've been partnering with different organizations in terms of delivering these programs. And the one that we're really pleased to be working with now is our Data Fellowships course, this new one on data and AI, which highlighted right here. It's the 6-week version of the course. So it's very much it's not a full semester long. It's packaged very much like Northeastern to be a half semester course. So that way you can cover a lot of material, but still have time to fit in all your other things around it. So We have other data fellowships courses, but this one, what's really interesting about this one is it starts with a 1 week intensive session, very much a boot camp, where it's, every morning for 5 days for the whole week to get you up to speed. And then it continues on once a week through the rest of the 6 weeks. And you end up being able to have actual AI project to show by the end of it. You can come with your own data, or we're happy to provide you with some other data, because so much of the AI work now is data driven. So we provide, foundational data science and AI concepts throughout that whole course. It is delivered online, interactive, and it gets you hands-on experience of working not only with the instructors. And yes, for this offering of the course, I'm going to be the lead instructor, but we have a whole team of people there working with us, other faculty members, other graduate students, mentors, and so on. And what's really great about it is you'll get to work with your fellow students as well. So the course syllabus, which is available online, goes into the details there. But what is really great about this is very much applying AI techniques and applying data science fundamentals to real world problems, taking a look at best practices, taking a look at ethics, ethical use of data, ethical use of algorithms, and so on. And you can end up having something that, when you've gone through the course, you end up having not only the basics there, you really see how they apply and what are the strengths, what are the weaknesses of approaches in terms of that. So to give you an idea of the kind of things that we could cover in terms of the course, the day one is the introduction to data science and AI, and actually introduction to programming there too. I have a nice module where people, as long as you're familiar with some scripting or some different scripting languages or some basic programming, able to bring you up to speed with all the things that you need to do for programming in data science and AI. Day two deals with data preparation, and then we dive into not only exploratory data analysis, but machine learning and getting very advanced machine learning and analytics, going into visual analytics, modeling, and finally, being able to work with others to not only evaluate your solution, but to communicate your solution with final project presentations at the end. Through that whole period of time, there will be mentors will be available online and via different channels to be able to help you through your whole course. And many people are wondering, well, is this course right for me? And what's nice about it is it's a very applied course. It's working at so much of AI right now is building on using pieces that have been developed out there and tying them in with your own data or with public data that's available out there to solve real world problems. So if the key question, is the course right for me? Well, it's very practical and application focused. You can immediately apply what you learn. And if you're interested in switching or expanding your career in data or AI, data science or AI fields, I think it's the ideal course for you. So I'm happy to answer your questions afterwards. And with that, I will pass you back to our moderator. Thanks very much, Norma.
Thank you, Fred. And so last but not least, we have Jessica Taylor, who is the Associate Director of Custom Programs at UBC Sauder. She will be discussing the 3 courses that UBC has in collaboration with our program. So over to you, Jessica.
Thanks very much, Norma. I'm just going to share my screen here. There you go. And I'm also going to take the silence as everyone can see my screen. Do let me know in the chat, though, if you have any issues with viewing that. So as Norma mentioned, we have 3 programs that we partnered with Athena Pathways on, and we're very excited about this partnership and hopefully getting some new faces into our programs in the coming months. So I'll just give a high-level overview of all 3 programs. And again, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have at the end of today's program. So the first program is data analytics for managerial decision making, and we offered this program in partnership with Asper University in Manitoba. This is with one of our faculty, Tim Hutt, and it is not a technical program, so it's actually focused on managers of people who are doing the data analysis. Sorry. This program will focus on teaching managers how to look at the data that's provided to them. as well as how to coach the individuals in their organization that are doing the data analysis to make sure that they're presenting and communicating the data in a fashion that helps stakeholders to make critical decisions. This program runs in November and it's a 2-day online program, again, through Asper University. And we will offer this one again in the winter months as well. The next program is called Digital Transformation, and this is taught by one of our instructors, Jonathan Kerrigan. It's a 4-week program where you have 2 live sessions per week. This allows participants to take the information that they're learning in each session and apply it throughout the time in between the sessions. This program looks at digital transformation in a number of different ways. It touches on strategy. How do you communicate your digital strategy across an organization, and how do you put together what is a digital plan, and how do you put that together? It talks about everything from resourcing to implement a digital transformation and a digital strategy, to hiring, increasing efficiency, governance. So it touches on all areas from HR, finance, operations, right down to the technologies that may be required and the other resources. And then finally, our mini MBA program. So this program is a relatively new program. We're offering it for the 2nd time this November. It's a 5-week immersive program that we've put in place to help teach leaders who maybe come from a technical background and are looking to move into a leadership position, or looking to enhance their business acumen. So the program runs over 5 weeks with multiple live sessions per week. The first session is actually an orientation session where you're able to meet your fellow classmates, as well as a couple of the key faculty, and get any answers to any questions about the logistics. There's then a 2-week break where you're encouraged to participate in a self-paced way. We have a number of, what's unique about this program, is that we have a number of asynchronous or self-paced assets that come with this program. So you actually do a lot of your learning at your own time, learning all of the fundamental concepts of the program. So the program touches on strategy, marketing, human resources, finance, and operations. And those sessions are interwoven over the course of the 5-week period. You do your online learning and then come to the program to actually apply the skills, ask questions, and work in small groups to learn how to apply, and again, to ask questions and apply this to your day-to-day job. The program wraps up with a capstone project. So you work with a number of people from the program to apply this to a real world problem. They leave this until halfway through the program to tell you what problem you'll be solving. And I actually had the pleasure of taking the first offering of this program, and it was quite interesting. We have a number of our key faculty on the program, including Dr. Darren Dahl, Dr. Mahesh Nagarajan, and a number of others. So this is really a program that's great for anyone who's looking to enhance their business acumen or move into a leadership program or position, and I'm happy to take any questions. And we also have full course outlines available on our website. So I'll drop that into the chat as well. And back to you, Norma.
Perfect. So a huge thank you to Lisa, Bethany, Fred, and Jessica. That was super informative and great to hear. If anyone has any questions for the speakers or for myself, feel free to place them in the chat and I will read them out. During this time, I do ask that you remain on mute. I'll give a few minutes for if anyone has any questions to place them in the chat. All right, so it doesn't look like actually we have any questions, and we actually got through the program quite quickly. So which means you all have some extra free time, which I know we can all use. So if any questions do come up, I did place my email in the chat above, so you're welcome to email me and I can always relay them to Fred, Bethany, Lisa, or Jessica. So thank you everyone for a great webinar, and take care.
Thank you.